my first game in Unreal Engine, and I gotta be honest, I was not prepared for how complicated it would be. Not because it's actually that complicated, but because I like to overthink things, and that inevitably leads to overcomplicating things. So I decided to look around on YouTube for a little bit, see if I could find some inspiration, because, I want to get into this whole game dev thing. If I'm getting into some game dev, then I want to understand how other people are doing indie game dev. I understand the indie movement is a real big thing right now. I kind of want to be a part of it. That's why I'm starting this YouTube channel. And that's why this video is super casual. I've written a script for this video like 3 or 4 times. This is probably the 15th time I've tried re-recording this video, but I've stopped caring what this video is going to look like because, as my wife so lovingly reminded me about 30 seconds ago, she's probably the only one that's going to see it. In fact, she can hear it right now. It's not a big apartment. I'm making a Pong game. Why am I making Pong? Because I wanted to make air hockey, and turns out air hockey's too complicated for a beginner like me, so I'm making Pong instead. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm following Burrow Games. I'm following his tutorial right now. There's another guy who has a Pong tutorial that I was following for a little bit. The original idea that I had was to make Pong, but essentially more like air hockey. So like you would be able to move your paddle from left to right along with up and down. In Pong, you can move it up and down. You can hit the ball, keep it from going outside the boundary of the game. But with air hockey, I wanted you to be able to score. But in order to score, you need to be able to redirect the ball. And that introduced a whole bunch of movement mechanics that I, frankly, am not prepared for. Why? Because I started learning Unreal Engine about 4 months ago. Now, I have gone through tutorials. Like I said, I'm following Burrow Games. I'm going through his tutorial on Pong. It's like, I think 8 videos long. It's really in depth. It's really good stuff. Really appreciate his tutorial. I also went through the Pong tutorial by Unreal University. He's awesome. Back when I started learning Unreal Engine, back when I started learning it, that sounds like it was a decade ago. No, it was 4 months ago. It was 3 months ago. It was 3 months ago. I went through Unreal Sensei's beginner video masterclass. Actually, really, I don't know if it's a masterclass. It's a class, and it's for beginners, and it is worth every second of the 5-hour runtime. Wonderful video. The guy goes into extreme detail, explains everything. Phenomenal teacher. Really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend, if you're starting out Unreal Engine, watch that guy's tutorial. It is absolutely worth all 5 hours. In terms of Pong, though, where am I with this particular version of the game? Well, believe it or not, I did actually make progress on my air hockey game as well, despite being an absolute beginner. I was able to get the paddle to move, not just up and down. I was able to get it to move left and right as well. That was pretty cool. I was able to actually do a shoot function where the paddle would just suddenly boom all the way, like boom, like there it goes. Didn't work that well because the AI paddle was able to just move in time no matter how hard you hit it. And you didn't really hit it that hard because all it did was just boom, over. Ball mechanics, physics, and stuff like that was really cool to figure out, but it didn't quite work with the way that I had the paddle set up, and I couldn't tell you for the life of me how I had the paddle set up that the ball just wouldn't work with it properly, or the shot mechanic wouldn't work work with it properly. And also the fact that I couldn't keep the paddle, I couldn't restrict the movement from half field. Why am I doing this? You can't see the field. I couldn't restrict the paddle movement from beyond half field. So like in air hockey, you're not supposed to go across the halfway line. I couldn't get that to work. And so I decided I'm scrapping the whole thing, which I did. I literally deleted the file because I just wanted to start fresh. And so I did. And I decided I would just make Pong instead because, you really want to simplify things for your first game. That's what I'm understanding from these other tutorials. Simplify things for your first game. And what could be more simple than Pong? Well, apparently Pong isn't actually that simple. There are a lot of really complicated mechanics that go into it. Complicated to an absolute beginner, I should say. Probably not complicated to somebody who's been in game dev for a little bit, which is an extremely obvious fact. So I'm making Pong. I'm about halfway through Burrow Games' tutorial series on it. It's been highly informative. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm hoping that eventually this will turn into something where I can just keep building on my experience here and start building the game that I really want to make, which is a real-time strategy war game that's sort of a mix between Civilization and SimCity. I have this whole idea of you can build up an economy, you can build up a military, you can engage in foreign policy and work with allies and stuff like that. But make it a little bit more, I don't even know what the right word, natural. Make it more natural than Civilization. Like each civilization has their own goals and stuff like that. I don't know how to explain it. I think I don't particularly like turn-based games, although Civilization is absolutely classic and absolutely one of my favorite games. I just thought it would be cool to do the exact same thing, but in the style of SimCity and also real time. Also, my wife was super disappointed in Subnautica 2, Subnautica Below Zero, and I'd like to make her first-person survival survival game because apparently she's super into those, and that would be dope. We also spend a lot of time playing Call of Duty Zombies together, but we haven't been able to get Call of Duty Zombies to work properly since Infinite Warfare. I know Infinite Warfare gets a ton of crap from video gamers, but it's actually really the last Call of Duty that I genuinely enjoy playing. Sorry if that's blasphemous. The two latest Modern Warfares I thought were pretty sweet as far as the campaigns go, but multiplayer is just totally screwed up. And that's if you can even get the game to work. Oftentimes I just plug the game in and it needs a freaking 100 gigabyte update, which is just obnoxious. In any case, it'd be really cool to one day go to my wife and say, hey, you know how you really enjoyed playing zombies with me? Well, I made you a zombies game and it's so much better, and see what happens. Maybe I'll get some serious husband brownie points. That would be dope. I decided to document all of that journey here on YouTube. I thought it would be a great way to hold me accountable, but I also thought it would be a really cool way to build up a community. I figure a lot of this indie development stuff is going to be community driven. You know, we can't really afford a lot of money for advertising, so advertising games is kind of not a thing for us right now. I'm saying us as though I'm a part of the community and I just started, so I hope you'll accept me one day. But really, you know, money for advertising is not really a thing, and so building up a community on YouTube is the perfect way to, you've already got an audience, you've got people who are probably willing to beta test it for you, and then you can release games and you've already got a whole bunch of people right there ready to engage with it, which would be just awesome. That's every marketer's dream, is to, I work in marketing, so that's why I pointed at myself. That's every marketer's dream, to release a marketing campaign with an already built-in and highly engaged audience. So that's what I decided to do. I thought it would be cool to interact with a lot of you other game developers out there, kind of build this community. Maybe you guys can see stuff that I'm doing egregiously wrong in Unreal Engine and tell me how wrong I am, and maybe I should just quit, and why am I doing this in the first place? Or maybe eventually down the line we can collaborate, we can work on games together, maybe even develop our own studio that takes on Call of Duty and puts Activision out of business. I don't know. I really haven't thought about it much. I just figured this would be a sweet thing to try out. Anyway, this is my YouTube channel. If you want to join me for the ride, please feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Unless, of course, you don't subscribe, in which case I probably won't.